They were built before touchscreens, before computers started telling drivers what to do. No sensors, no autopilot, no eco mode. Just raw steel, roaring engines, and men who shifted 18 gears by feel. While new trucks depend on technology, these old legends depend on heart. These are the trucks that refuse to die, the ones still beating new tech every single mile. 10 old-school monsters that prove one thing: steel and soul will always outlast silicon. Number 1. Kenworth W900. When people talk about the soul of American trucking, they're usually talking about the Kenworth W900. Introduced in 1961, the W900 was never just a machine, it was a statement. With its long hood, gleaming chrome, and twin vertical stacks, it became the face of American highways. It's the truck you saw in movies, on posters, and in every trucker's dream, and over 60 years later, it's still rolling stronger than ever. The W900's success lies in its perfect combination of brute power and mechanical simplicity. Early models came equipped with powerhouse engines like the Cummins NTC Big Cam, Caterpillar 3406, or Detroit Diesel Series 60, engines built before emissions restrictions and electronic limiters. These beasts delivered pure raw torque that could pull 80,000 pounds across the Rockies without breaking a sweat. The cab design was minimalistic but driver-focused. There were no touchscreens or automatic gearboxes, just gauges, steel, and sweat. The heavy-duty Eaton Fuller transmissions demanded skill, timing, and finesse. Drivers who could master the W900 earned respect because this truck didn't do the job for you. It did the job with you. Maintenance was straightforward. Everything was mechanical, rebuildable, and accessible. You didn't need a computer or diagnostic tablet, just tools, grease, and experience. That's why owner-operators loved it. They could keep their rigs running for millions of miles without relying on dealerships or software updates. Even today, the Kenworth W900 holds its own against the most high-tech rigs. It doesn't need sensors or automated brakes to prove its worth. Its worth is written in every mile it's conquered. From coast to coast, the W900 remains a rolling symbol of what trucking used to be: honest, strong, and proud. While the world went digital, the W900 stayed real. Number 2. Peterbilt 379. Few trucks have reached the near-mythical status of the Peterbilt 379. Launched in 1987, it became the ultimate symbol of trucking freedom, the rig every long-haul driver dreamed of owning. With its stretched hood, gleaming chrome grille, round headlights, and timeless stance, the 379 wasn't just a truck, it was art on 18 wheels. But it wasn't all looks. The 379 had power and durability to back up its beauty. Under its long nose, you'd typically find an E-model Caterpillar 3406E, Cummins N14, or Detroit Diesel 60 series, all known for long life, big torque, and easy maintenance. Paired with the rock-solid Eaton Fuller 18-speed manual transmission, the 379 gave drivers total control over every shift, every climb, and every load. It wasn't just about driving, it was about mastery. Old-school truckers loved the 379 because it was built before trucks started thinking for themselves. No complex emission systems to clog, no electronic throttle delays, just pure mechanical response. You felt everything through the wheel and the pedals. When you shifted gears, you felt the torque transfer. When the turbo spooled, you heard it roar. It connected man and machine in a way new trucks never will. Another reason for its legendary status is customization. Chrome stacks, full fenders, light bars, custom paint. The 379 became a canvas for self-expression. No two were exactly alike. Owner-operators took pride in their rigs because they represented them. Even though production ended in 2007, the Peterbilt 379 still dominates truck shows and long-haul highways. Many have logged over 1 million miles and are still working daily. Modern aerodynamic trucks might save fuel, but none can match the charisma or commanding presence of the 379. It remains the definition of pride, power, and personality on the open road. Number 3. Mack Super-Liner. When you think of toughness, you think of Mack. And when you think of Mack's toughest creation, the Super-Liner comes to mind instantly. Born in the late 1970s, the Mack Super-Liner wasn't built to be pretty. It was built to work harder and last longer than anything else. Its famous bulldog hood ornament wasn't just a logo, it was a warning. This truck was all bite. Underneath its muscular frame, the Super-Liner carried the heart of a beast. The Mack E9 V8 diesel engine, delivering up to 500 horsepower, a staggering figure at a time when most trucks struggled to break 400. This engine was designed to handle punishment. Whether it was hauling logging trailers in the Appalachians or heavy tankers across the Midwest, the Super-Liner didn't complain, it conquered. Mack's design philosophy was simple: build every part strong enough to outlast the competition. Unlike many manufacturers, Mack made almost everything in-house: engines, transmissions, axles, and frames. This vertical integration gave the truck unmatched reliability because every component was engineered to work together seamlessly. The Super-Liner was particularly popular in heavy-duty industries like logging, construction, and mining, places where failure isn't an option. Truckers respected it, not just for its brute power, but for its dependability. When the terrain got rough or the weather turned brutal, the Super-Liner kept moving. Even today, decades later, many of these trucks are still alive, rebuilt, repainted, and roaring like they did the day they left the factory. Modern trucks may be cleaner and quieter, but they'll never match the Super-Liner's toughness or that deep V8 rumble that still turns heads wherever it goes. The Mack Super-Liner wasn't just a workhorse, it was a warhorse. It earned its reputation mile by mile, ton by ton. In a world of fragile electronics, this bulldog still bites harder than ever. Number 4. International 9370 Eagle. Overshadowed by flashier brands like Peterbilt and Kenworth, the International 9370 Eagle quietly built a reputation in the 1980s as one of the most dependable and underrated trucks on the road. Released in 1984, the 9370 wasn't designed to win beauty contests, it was designed to win battles. This truck was powered by engines like the Cummins Big Cam 400 Detroit Diesel 8V92 and later the Cat 3406B, giving it plenty of pulling power for heavy freight. The 9370's design emphasized strength and simplicity, heavy frame rails, reinforced suspensions, and a clean electrical system that almost never failed. It didn't have aerodynamic panels or plastic bodywork. Everything was steel, bolts, and reliability. Truckers who drove the 9370 loved how it handled. It was smooth, stable, and built for serious work. The cab wasn't luxurious, but it was roomy and well laid out. Visibility was excellent, and everything from the shifter to the gauges felt intuitive. Mechanics appreciated the 9370 for its ease of maintenance. Everything was accessible, parts were common, and downtime was minimal. What made the 9370 special was that it was a true working-class hero. While owner-operators flaunted chrome-covered Peats, International's 9370s were quietly hauling freight night and day, keeping America's supply lines moving. These trucks weren't pampered, they were used, abused, and still asked for more. Even now, many 9370 Eagles are still in service, especially in regional and logging operations. They may not have the glamour of a Peterbilt 379, but they have something more valuable: trust. Truckers who've driven both new and old rigs often say the same thing. The 9370 might not have GPS or adaptive cruise control, but it will get you home every single time. In the battle between steel and software, this old warrior still wins. Number 5. Freightliner FLD120. If there's one truck that defines reliability, it's the Freightliner FLD120. Built from the late 1980s through the early 2000s, the FLD wasn't flashy or loud, it was a quiet legend. It became the backbone of countless fleets across America because it did exactly what a truck should do. start every morning, haul every load, and come home without complaints. Under the hood, the FLD120 could be equipped with engines like the Detroit Diesel Series 60, Caterpillar 3406, or Cummins N14. These engines were bulletproof, mechanical masterpieces that could rack up over 1 million miles before needing a full rebuild. The Series 60 in particular was known for combining fuel efficiency with durability. It was simple enough to maintain, yet powerful enough for heavy long-haul routes. The FLD wasn't about luxury. Its cab was functional. Everything you needed, nothing you didn't. The dashboard was easy to read, the gear shift was solid, and the seating position gave perfect visibility. The truck's aerodynamic shape for its time made it slightly more efficient than the big square rigs, helping owner-operators save on diesel without sacrificing toughness. What really made the FLD120 stand out was its serviceability. Mechanics loved it because it was designed to be repaired quickly. Panels were easy to remove, wiring was straightforward, and replacement parts were everywhere. That's why, even decades later, you can still find FLDs running daily, hauling containers, pulling dumps, or serving small fleets that trust old-school reliability over computerized systems. It didn't need a computer to tell it how to shift or when to brake, it just worked, mile after mile, year after year. In an industry obsessed with new technology, the Freightliner FLD120 remains proof that simplicity is sometimes the greatest innovation of all. Number 6. Western Star 4900. While most truck makers chased mass production and electronics, Western Star stayed true to its roots. The Western Star 4900, introduced in the 1980s and still hand-built in limited numbers today, is the living embodiment of old-school trucking pride. It's the truck for drivers who believe a rig should have muscle, character, and craftsmanship, not plastic dashboards and software patches. Every 4900 is a work of art, built by hand in the factory. Each bolt, seam, and weld is done with care. This truck wasn't about being flashy or futuristic. It was about being indestructible. Built on a strong steel frame and offered with engines like the Detroit 60 series, Caterpillar C15, or Cummins ISX, the 4900 could handle everything from long-haul freight to heavy logging and mining work. Inside, the 4900 feels like a fortress, thick insulation, solid panels, and minimal vibration. Unlike modern trucks with thin composite materials, the Western Star feels like it's carved out of iron. The interior is simple but premium, with an old-school layout of analog gauges and switches. It gives the driver control, the kind that can't be replaced by touchscreens. Drivers who own 4900s often say, "It's not just a truck, it's my truck." That's because no two are alike. Every Western Star is custom-built to the buyer's specification, creating a personal bond between driver and machine. While modern trucks focus on sensors and aerodynamics, the 4900 focuses on longevity. Some are still working after 30 years, hauling the same routes they did decades ago. It's more than nostalgia. It's proof that a truck built with hands and heart will always outlast one built by algorithms. The Western Star 4900 isn't just beating new tech, it's ignoring it and winning anyway. Number 7. Volvo White GMC WIA64T. Not all old-school legends were flashy chrome beasts. Some were quiet, efficient, and built like steel fortresses, like the Volvo White GMC WIA64T. Produced during the 1980s and 1990s, after Volvo merged with White Motor Company and GMC, the WIA64T was one of the most well-engineered, dependable, and comfortable rigs of its time. This truck was often overlooked by owner-operators chasing the image of the big American long nose, but fleet managers loved it. It was aerodynamic, strong, and reliable. Equipped with engines like the Cummins N14 or Detroit Diesel Series 60, it combined European efficiency with American muscle. The WIA's streamlined design made it fuel efficient, while its steel frame ensured durability that rivaled the heaviest trucks on the road. Inside, it was surprisingly comfortable. Volvo focused on driver ergonomics. something rare back then. The cab was quieter, the suspension smoother, and the bunk space more comfortable than most competitors. Truckers who spent weeks on the road appreciated its ride comfort and straightforward dashboard design. Maintenance was simple, thanks to Volvo's practical engineering. Mechanics found the wiring organized and access to the engine bay was generous. These rigs could run hundreds of thousands of miles with minimal downtime, and their mechanical systems could be serviced without complex diagnostic tools. Today, you can still find these trucks running regional freight or being restored by enthusiasts who appreciate their understated excellence. While the world moved toward smart trucks, the WIA64T remains a lesson in balance, efficiency, comfort, and strength achieved without overcomplicating the formula. It didn't need fancy sensors or data-driven maintenance schedules. It just needed diesel, oil, and a driver who knew what he was doing. The Volvo WIA64T might be quiet, but it's still out there, quietly beating the future. Number 8. Diamond Reo Giant. If there ever was a truck that embodied pure brute strength, it was the Diamond Reo Giant. Built through the 1970s and early 1980s, this truck was the kind of machine that could outlast a career. You didn't drive a Diamond Reo, you commanded it. The Giant was a product of a company that built its reputation on toughness. Diamond Reo specialized in heavy-duty trucks for the roughest industries, logging, mining, and off-road hauling. These were the kind of environments where most trucks died early, but the Giants thrived. They featured engines like the Cummins 855 Big Cam, Detroit Diesel 8V92, and sometimes the Caterpillar 3408, all legendary power plants known for longevity and raw torque. The chassis was a tank, thick frame rails, reinforced crossmembers, and oversized axles that could handle more weight than their ratings claimed. The truck was basic but effective, no computers, minimal electronics, and almost no failure points. If something broke, it could be welded or replaced right there in the yard. Diamond Reos were built for function, not fame. You didn't buy one to show off. You bought one because you needed a machine that never quits. And that's exactly what the Giant delivered. Even decades after the company ceased production, many of these trucks remain operational, a tribute to their over-engineered construction. The Diamond Reo Giant represents a time when American manufacturers believed in excess strength over cost-cutting. Every inch of metal, every bolt, was designed for survival, not style. Modern trucks might have sensors that warn you before a breakdown, but Diamond Reo never needed one. It didn't break down in the first place. This forgotten warrior may not headline truck shows today, but it's still beating new tech in reliability, simplicity, and heart. Number 9. Ford LTL 9000. Before Ford exited the heavy truck market, it created one of the most iconic long-nose rigs of the 1970s, the Ford LTL 9000. This truck was the company's answer to the big players like Kenworth and Peterbilt, and for a time, it gave them a serious run for their money. The LTL 9000 was Ford's flagship, big, powerful, and beautifully built. It was offered with engines like the Cummins Big Cam 400, Detroit 8V92, and later Caterpillar 3406. These engines, combined with Eaton Fuller 13 or 18-speed transmissions, gave the LTL serious pulling power and reliability. Its long hood and bold grille gave it a classic American profile, while the interior offered surprising comfort for its time, thick insulation, wide windows, and ergonomic controls. The truck's heavy frame and dual air ride suspension made it exceptionally stable, even under heavy loads. Mechanically, it was as tough as they come. The wiring was simple, the systems were mechanical, and the components were standard across most heavy-duty fleets, meaning easy access to parts and repairs. Fleet operators loved the LTL because it stayed on the road and didn't cost a fortune to maintain. Even after Ford sold its heavy truck division to Freightliner in the late 90s, many LTL 9000s continued working in construction, logging, and regional haulage. Some have crossed the million-mile mark several times over. The LTL 9000 was proof that Ford knew how to build a real truck. one that could stand toe-to-toe with the best of the best. Today, seeing one on the highway is like spotting a relic from a better time. A reminder that once, even Ford built rigs tough enough to take on America's hardest miles. Number 10. Scania 141. Across the Atlantic, while America's highways were ruled by chrome giants, Europe had its own legend, the Scania 141. Built between 1976 and 1981, the 141 became the most respected long-haul truck of its era, not for luxury, but for endurance. At its heart was Scania's DS14 V8 turbo diesel, a 14-liter powerhouse producing 375 horsepower, an incredible figure for the time. This engine was famous for its distinctive growl, deep torque curve, and near unbreakable construction. It could haul through mountains, snow, and endless highways without a hiccup. The 141 wasn't just powerful, it was smartly engineered. Everything was easy to service and components were designed to last decades. Scania trucks were known for their modularity, meaning parts could be replaced or upgraded without redesigning the whole machine. This made maintenance easy and kept them on the road long after others retired. Drivers loved the 141 for its comfort and precision. The cab-over design maximized visibility and maneuverability, while the interior offered better ergonomics than most trucks of its time. For long European hauls, it was the perfect blend of power, economy, and reliability. Even today, enthusiasts across Europe preserve and restore Scania 141s. You'll still see them at truck shows, roaring, shining, and often still drivable. Many are still used by small operators who know that a well-maintained 141 will outlast most of the smart trucks sold today. The Scania 141 isn't just a relic, it's a living reminder that real engineering never goes obsolete. It's a truck that beat the odds, the years, and the technology, and it's still winning. They don't have computers. They don't have sensors. But they have something no new truck ever will: soul. These old machines were built to last, built to work, and built to be remembered. Long after the latest tech breaks down, these legends will still be rolling, hauling steel, climbing mountains, and keeping the spirit of the open road alive. If you still believe old iron beats new tech, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who knows the sound of a real diesel engine.